I Want to Be a Turk by aichioluv. Chapter 1. I Want to Be a Turk. When the Turks found Maya in Sector 4 slums, they definitely got more than they bargained for. Sector 4 was never much of a sector to be proud of. Sector 5 has a church with rare flowers growing. There is a playground in Sector 6 and even a mini-market in Sector 7 that can rival the wall market. Sector 4 has nothing. Like the other sectors in Midgar, Sector 4 was an endless land of debris, dust, and gloomy people. It was raining over Sector 4 that day. In the distance ahead, there were 3 people standing in the midst of a mess. 2 men and a woman. The trio wore dark blue uniforms and matching pants, their weapons equipped. They appeared to be in deep conversation and did not seem to be bothered by the rain. The woman was tall and slender. The dark blue uniform did not do well to hide her beauty and her solemn expression. She had long brown hair, a brown so light that it looked gray under the dull of the rain. Her long fringed frame, her face, and is now sticking into her cheeks. She was unarmed save the 2 leather gloves on her hands. The 2 men were contrasts of each other. The taller man was tan. He was bald and, like the woman, was armed only with gloves. He wore dark sunglasses, preventing people from seeing his eyes. He listened to the conversation, but mostly kept quiet, folding his arms in silence. The striking feature about the last person was his flaming red hair. It was unkempt and untidy, but short in the back. He pushed his goggles to his forehead, showing 2 red tattoo stripes on his cheeks. His uniform was messy and sloppy. He stood his weight on his left leg, yawning and tapping a metal rod against his back as if it could massage his aching back. Despite their casual manners, the citizens of Sector 4 cowered as soon as they saw their navy blue uniforms and weapons, for they were the infamous Turks working for Shinra, the people who are capable for doing the dirty work for the electric power company. Rumors had it that they would stop at nothing to complete their mission, even if they need to kill. It was common sense to avoid them if they ever appeared. Like how the people below the plate always said, better to be mauled by Calm Fang than to be hunted by a Turk. The woman stared at the redhead, her face serious. Reno, I'm trying to get a detailed analysis of what's going to happen. We only have 20 minutes left before we leave. Stop fidgeting. Reno gave another yawn. This is a boring mission, he complained. I know it's your first time to be in command, Leia, but loosen up, he grinned. It's just coming here to take a look at how Sector 4 has been doing, yo. Leia rolled her eyes. How do you even put up with him, rude? The tan Turk made no expression. I get by, was his simple reply. Hey, Reno frowned at Rude. And I thought we were supposed to be all buddy-buddy now that we're going to be partners. Rude turned in his direction. It was hard to tell what expression he was carrying. I didn't recall that I needed to be buddies with you. Reno made a face. Aw, man, give me a break. I know I'm only joined the Turks a year ago, but cut me some slack. Whatever it is, 15 minutes is left because of random bickering, Leia sighed in frustration. She didn't like wasting time and always believed in efficiency. Be on standby. Will do, answered the redhead lazily. While waiting for their leader to give the order to return, Reno started walking around the area to explore. Leia shook her head in disbelief. No one would ever realize that Reno was more senior in the Turk than she is. Rude had been in the Turks longer than Reno, and recently been paired up with the almost too carefree Reno. Leia wondered if Rude held any dislike towards his new partner. "Yo guys, check this out," the redhead called out over to his comrades. "What are you up to again, Reno?" Leia groaned in frustration as they approached the pile of debris Reno was squatting by. They saw a small, frail girl lying at the sidewalks. Well, literally the sidewalk of where the citizens walked by in Sector 4. "Is she dead?" asked Rude in a deadpan. Reno nudged her head with his foot gently. "Reno!" Leia exclaimed, shocked that he would mishandle humans so. "Relax, yo," Reno said with a drawl. "She's dead. I don't see her moving." He stood up. "If there's was a cause of death, I'm guessing malnutrition. You gotta admit, living conditions here suck." He shuddered a little. Rue cleared his throat, and Reno apologized. After all, being a Turk meant the emotional attachment should best be removed to ensure efficiency and confidence of a job done. Leia nodded. "Anyway, let's go." As they turned, Reno suddenly felt a tug at the hem of his trousers. "What the heck?" he cursed, jumping back to see what it was. As Leia turned, she was shocked to see the little girl alive, her hands stretched out, quivering. Her voice was soft but clear. "Take me with you." Reno walked back and squat down. "Hey kiddo, we're not some orphanage or charitable organization. We're the Turks, and you should stay out of our way," he explained almost gently to the girl. He stood up, but before he could walk off, her hand was tugging at his trousers again. "Oh, come on," he almost shouted in frustration. "Let go," he struggled to gain his balance while shaking off the girl, who surprisingly had a strong grip of his pants. Then I want to be a Turk." Reno stopped his attempts and stared blankly at her. Rude furrowed his brow. "Girl, don't play pranks with us." She released the hem of Reno's trousers. She propped herself up and glared at Rude. Leia secretly saluted her for her pure resilience. She never forgot that look on the girl's face as she stared at Rude. The glare was full of determination, as if she was challenging Rude to take her life if he were to refuse. "I'm not going to spend my life here when I have no one left," she said again, softly. "If becoming a Turk means I can live a proper life, then I'll work for Shenra." Her gaze was steady. Rude made a noise of annoyance. "The girl's serious." Reno knelt down and stared at the girl. She was thin, no doubt. Her big eyes were hazel brown. Her black shoulder-length hair was straight and wet with rain. Who knew how long she had been lying out in the open? But Reno couldn't help but notice how smooth her fair skin was. He couldn't remember a time in his life when he saw such flawless complexions. Pulling himself back to focus, he asked, "What is your name?" Her gaze at Rude immediately shifted to Reno. "Maya," she answered simply. "How old are you?" 12. Whoa, that young, Reno thought at the back of his head. He was accepted into Turks last year at 16, and he thought he was young already. Even so, the Turks have accepted younger candidates before. Reno stood up. "Well, I'll take her back." "No," Reno insisted. Reno frowned. "Rude, come on. She's just a little kid." "You continue your generosity and Shenra will be overrun by children." "But I want to bring her along." Rude frowned at Reno and shook his head. Reno desperately tried to negotiate. I will let you have all the meat in my meals for a month. But the look on Rude's face was final. Leia glanced at her cell phone. Boss told us to retreat. Let's go. Reno sighed. He patted the girl's head. We wish to bring you back, but we can't. Please let go, he added with a slight pleading tone. No, shouted Maya as she clenched onto Reno's leg. I'm not letting you go till you let me become a Turk. Hey, listen, kiddo, Reno retorted, clearly annoyed. If you don't let go, I'm going to have to drag you all the way to Shinra. He stopped himself once he realized that was exactly what she wanted. Smart kid, he grunted to her. You're an idiot, that's all, Rude replied. Reno wanted to make another combat, but Leia interrupted him. Look, we don't have much time, she frowned as she thought to herself. If I were given full authority, what would I do? Reno placed his palms together in a pleading manner. Please, guys, let's just bring her back. If she proves not to be good enough to be a Turk, we'll send her back or something. He mumbled the last two words. But the other two Turks knew that Reno was referring to silencing Mila in case she discovered Shinra's information. He smiled at Mila, who was still clenching onto his leg for dear life. He was not going to let her know these dark things yet. She was much too young. Leia's head shot up from her thoughts. But what do we tell the boss? She asked, her voice afraid of the endless possibilities. I'll handle him, Reno replied with a wink. We'll handle him, confirmed Rude at last. Yeah, I love you, man, Reno rejoiced, patting the silent man on the back. I knew you had a soft spot somewhere, only because you're giving me a me for 1 month. Reno's face fell as he remembered his pan promise. All right, he held the girl up under his arm and tried to steady herself. At full height, she was half a head shorter than his shoulder height. Little Maya, you better be a good Turk. If not, I'm going to lose a month of meat for nothing. He then murmured, looking at her height. But first, you gotta eat more so that you can grow taller. He took out his jacket and draped it around the small figure, shielding her from the chill from the rain. Maya's face broke into an unexpected sweet smile. Thank you, nice brother and beautiful sister, she beamed. 2 minutes. Leia's voice was monotone, but Reno could tell she was anxious about reporting back on time, and flushed at the sincere compliment paid. Let's go. He took Maya's by the hand and patted Leia on her back, complimenting her on a good job done as the mission commander. The group swiftly left Sector 4, and it would be a while later that any one of them would return.